3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey everybody, the Studio Life. This is Mark. I'm here at Manhattan Beach Studios on the campus of MBS Media Campus, and this is another episode of the Studio Life where we talk about gear, our toys, we talk to cool people, fun. It's great. We love our business, we love our life, Studio Life. Today I'm here with a guy named John Landman. He's somebody I respect tremendously. Dude from Teradek, he's the VP of sales, and he knows every single thing about what we're going to talk about. So today we're going to highlight remote monitoring. We may talk a little bit about live stream, and who the hell knows? He's a friend of mine, so we're going to have some fun talking to John. So, John, how are you, buddy?
Hey,
good
man.
to see you.
How you doing?
What's going on?
You caught me off guard there.
I know. Yeah, these signs.
you're,
Have a seat.
You're a stealth man. You're. Yeah, I didn't see you coming.
So we're going to talk at our cart. This is our Jaeger cart.
Beautiful.
Hanging Studio Life, you know?
Beautiful. Convertible, no less.
It's convertible, and it can hold like 1,000 pounds or something like that.
Strong.
It's strong stuff.
I want one.
Well,
It's like the new Moke.
I know.
It's the Moke Mini.
So there you go. So, perfect. Excellent job. So, John,
Stay classy, as they say.
how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Really good. Great to be here. I'm excited to be here. Any excuse to get down to MBS of a morning and smell that fresh ocean air is a wonderful day.
There you go. Going to hit the Strand a little bit, maybe get some lunch.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So, listen, you and I have known each other a little while now,
Yes.
and we cross paths because we use a lot of your gear. Right? Teradek gear. This guy, it's Teradek. So we're fans, and we've struggled with a few different things through the years, and you and I have had some conversations.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about something called remote monitoring. We use it here in the room for remote sets.
Sure.
We know we have people offset monitoring.
Sure.
And I know it's something you really care about, but kind of, what's the issue? What's going on?
Well, remote monitoring or offset monitoring, right? I would say one of the biggest challenges of offset monitoring is always connectivity. Connectivity is the magic, and you, Mark, have invested in a large amount of gear to solve the connectivity problem. Whether it's an Ethernet drop, a Wi-Fi drop, a cellular drop, a bonded cellular drop, someone who provides that solution to their clients has to be able to, on a dime, provide connectivity. And that's always a pain point, right? That's always the pain point. And you can't rely on it. Now, in the studio where you're at, we can drop an Ethernet drop here and connect one of our devices up to it and send a feed up to the cloud and then send an invite to whoever you want to view that. But, there are many solutions for doing this. Some of the simpler solutions, customers use Zoom, right? I'm sure you're familiar with Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
There are advantages and disadvantages to all, right? We've seen a huge growth over the last couple of years, during COVID and post-COVID, to it being a standard of offset monitoring. People,
Right.
People just, it's become a standard. People aren't jumping on planes. People like being at home. I had an executive tell me how happy he was that he could put his kids to bed without, having to go on set and be at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the evening, and watching on his iPad in his house. I mean, this is accepted and something that is only getting better. What do I mean by getting better? Connectivity isn't getting better, but the solutions that we provide, the features that we offer offset now. We have created apps for the iPhone, the iPad, the Apple TV that have integrated specific camera information. I mean, you probably heard about the integration that we've done with Frame.io. We've done the same with Sony C. We're doing the same with Altion, which is another company in the offset monitoring world. And we also have our own platform. I call it Frame Light, which is Teradek Core, which allows us now to send. And this is how things have changed, right? Back in the beginning, we were happy to get any quality out of here, and now you have the ability to send a 4K feed up to the cloud, and then down to someone's iPad in 4K with specific 4K flags that allow a remote director to really see super high quality 60 frame per second offset monitoring. It's almost as if they're here.
Yeah.
Now, something that we haven't talked about a lot is a new technology that we have. It's called, and I haven't actually mentioned it, but it's started to be used on sets. It's a product called the Teradek ART, A-R-T. And as we mentioned, one of the biggest problems of the internet is the reliability of the internet, right? I think a lot of people have this illusion that the internet is perfect, right? You can send a video from here to New York over the public internet, and there is packet loss. There's a lot of jitter. There's problems with the internet, and the problems of the internet for what we do, offset monitoring, is typically two problems. Or the Achilles heel of what we do is latency and quality, right? I know that a lot of your clients are dealing with Zoom, which, on a quality-wise is good enough for a lot of what you do, right? But when they want us, and to be honest, we're not so much in the corporate offset monitoring world. We're more in the professional offset world, right. Movie sets or A-list productions. But as with everything, it starts at the top and then permeates its way down to the bottom, right?
So let's take a quick second and talk about what are the advantages. Like why are we doing on-set or offset monitoring? In the COVID world, we get this idea like it helps with social distancing.
Right.
But social distancing is not why we do on-set or offset monitoring. It wasn't before COVID, and it's not going to be after COVID. We use it for a lot of different reasons around here.
Right.
For instance, we have the epidemic problem of the business is getting the art director away from us.
I've heard that.
Yeah, when we're trying to figure out how to dial in a camera, it takes a little bit of focus. And so when people are looking over each other's shoulder, it's not about social distancing, which is obviously important. We don't want to spread the germs. But it's about our ability to do our job in the production business. And so if we're able to move that monitoring away, and that's just being on-set. Offset allows executives who would never be there, but they get to approve that content live. It means that as a production company, we know that they've signed off on the product. They've signed off on how we build the set. They've signed off on the lighting. They've signed off on the look. And so from a creative standpoint, they've already approved it. We know when we're doing it that is an approved piece of content.
Right, but if I'd have said to you 3 years ago that an executive's going to be sitting at his desk in New York okaying a production that you're setting up here, you'd have said, I'm falling from Mars. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, we certainly like the innovation here that's allowing that to happen. Absolutely,
right.
No question about it.
I remember walking into sets like this and having, 15 executives from the advertising agency, all of the fluff that comes along.
Absolutely.
Delta was extremely happy for that kind of business, and here we are 3 years later, post POCO, as I like to call it, post COVID, and it's perfectly accepted that the executive will now be in New York signing off on a deal. right? So you know, where will we be in 3 years' time, right? Where do you think you'll be in 3 years? You know, what are still the problems that you're seeing, or what would you like us to solve, right? What is the problem that, you know, that you see day in, day out? You know, I see something. What's that thing that's holding the mic stand here, right?
The boom, the cradle.
The cradle, right?
Yeah.
I bet that, you know, for years there was a guy holding that, and then suddenly some genius goes, "Oh, I'm going to bend a piece of metal," and boom, you've solved a national problem here.
Yeah, but one of the best used pieces of gear in the studio.
I'm amazed. I'm like amazed in its simplicity and the problem that it's solved.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what changes the industry, right? Finding something that's simple, affordable, and will change the way people do business. And we've witnessed it, right? I mean, anyone that's been in this studio life for the last 4 or 5 years, they've suffered. I mean, it's been painful. And, you know, I'm hoping that we're out the other end and things are busy. And the new techniques that they've learned, you know, new skill sets are needed on set now.
Yeah.
You know, a guy that understands IP. That didn't exist.
Right.
You know, I wanted to train someone. You know, I wanted to create on set a guy I could call a Teradek scientist. And I wanted to get a T-shirt printed up with Teradek scientist or terrorist for short. But it didn't fly. Marketing didn't go for it. But, you know.
And maybe if they could have watched from offset, they would have said, you know what, we're in on this.
We're in on this one, yes.
Yeah, it's, you know, but it was always about not the 15 executives that were on set, but it was the one that stayed home.
Oh.
It was always that guy that gal who saw the content later and said, you know what, this doesn't work for me. And we're mostly, I will tell you, most of the time we are asked to use Zoom. And we tie in Zoom. I was telling you earlier, John, we have our own cube,
right,
that we use both for on-set. When clients walk in, we give them a sheet of paper and instructions for what app to download and how to log in to our internet. And so they get to pick their executives. We can run multi-camera into it through our Decimator multi-viewer. Or we will actually cut a separate live stream and simply set a live stream to the cube so that people on set can look at what they're looking for. If they want to see one camera, we cut to one camera. If they want to see a bundle of 4, and we're using the cube in the room or within our internet domain,
right,
to give that to people. We're also feeding that to Zoom so that their remote people can take a look at it. And we're even using a bolt, to be honest. I don't want to focus on you're solving the world's problems, but we're even using a bolt to shoot that video then to the TV that's in the lobby.
And for those that don't know what a bolt is, that's a wireless video transmitter that Teradek makes that, we can have a whole session about bolt, but basically today we can transmit on set uncompressed 4K up to 5,000 feet away with 0 delay. We actually won an Academy Award for that.
Nice.
It was a lot of work for me.
That's beautiful. Congratulations.
It was
Do you
a
have
slog.
the Academy Award in your house?
No, I don't, but I should.
You should. At least a photo of it.
But getting back to something that you said, you just mentioned that, and X director can't make it for that day, right? Last week, I got a call from a CBS production, right, that the director has been quarantined for COVID. The nightmare of production. He did everything he should, but that little devil coronavirus got him. And the problem or the solution that he needed couldn't be fulfilled with Zoom because of the quality and the latency, right? We started to produce a new protocol that came out of our lab in Israel. So Bolt, which is uncompressed with zero delay. Imagine that sneaks away one night and gets into bed with a cube. What do you get? They have a baby called Art. What does this baby do? So Art can send a video feed from here to New York in under 100 milliseconds.
Nice.
Okay? 100 milliseconds is about 3 frames. So it's as if someone's in the room next door. But the magic of Art is that it can also deal with up to 5% packet loss. Packet loss is what we experience over the public internet. And in the past, the way to solve or deal with packet loss is to increase your latency. So you sacrifice latency for quality. Art is the first solution to solve that problem. So we put an Art box in the director's home, and on set we had a camera feeding the Art box. He was able to view the feed in 3 frames of delay, 4K. So he's seeing exactly what he would be seeing if he was standing at a Bolt on the other side of the room. But the one piece of, how do I say it, the icing on the cake here is that the Art box is bidirectional. So he was sending his feed. He had a PTZ camera at home pointing at him. So he's sitting at his desk staring at the images coming from set. He has a PTZ camera sending his image that went back onto the big screen. And it's as if he is virtually talking.
Nice.
We haven't really talked about Art, but you're going to start to hear a lot more about Art from us. I've had CNN did the feed from the Queen's shindig in London last month. They sent a 4K feed from London to Atlanta and to New York in 3 milliseconds, or in 100 milliseconds, 3 frames. And they were doing an interview bidirectionally,
Yeah.
which you would have used Zoom for, right? You would have used Zoom, but they want quality. So we were doing 4K point to point bidirectionally, as if they were in the same room. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's
that's amazing.
it's really cool.
And I can see other benefits for that. We've done some projects where we looked at the way productions were feeding raw video
Right.
to editors across the globe.
Yep.
Cutting sizzle reels and replay reels and shooting them back. There's so many benefits to the ability, from a monitoring standpoint. So many of our clients are happy to be dumbed down because
Right.
executives are used to Zoom. But when it comes to broadcast, the ability to not be dumbed down, to be able to get that feed in editable, ready to go quality, cut it, deliver it, and be done is life changing.
I think that your skill is that you have such a breadth of products, because it's not a one size fits all.
That's right.
Right? Customer A comes in and they want this. Customer B wants that. Customer C wants something else. And I think you've been able to survive in studio life because you've been able to accommodate all those different solutions.
Right.
And I mean, your skill set must have completely changed over the last few years. I mean, 3 years ago, did you know about Zoom? And I mean, this is, I think, what's changing studio life. That these tools have become as synonymous on set as these tools.
Yeah.
You
No,
can't
it's
get around
absolutely.
them.
There's no question about it. The changes for how we're able to do things have been so wonderfully beneficial to us. But I continue to get back to the little things that are not always appreciated, like the client approvals. That by itself is essentially our biggest change. That a director is able to do the interview, then listen to it, watch it. The producers are right there. That the complaints go down. That when we would have to redo something, or somebody would give us, they'd say, "Oh, well, we didn't like the lighting." Well, that's subjective.
Right.
We did the best we could based on the instructions, and our lighting was great, but it wasn't the way you wanted it. But here, the fact that you're able to see it takes away your ability to say, "I didn't see it, I didn't approve it, it
Right.
wasn't great." And that
Right.
means that we deliver basically 100% of the time something that is client approved. Huge.
I mean, it means that business can happen much faster,
Yeah.
right? I was at a post-production facility a while back, and they were shooting an HBO show, and the two A-list stars were already onto their next jobs, but these A-list stars who, one of them, I won't tell you her name other than her name is Nicole Kidman. She was, or her people, had to sign off on the color, the look and feel of
Yep.
the shoot. So her people were in Paris, and the other person's, don't tell anyone, it was Big Little Lies. So do you remember that show?
I do.
Okay, so it was Nicole Kidman and there was Glenn
Glenn Close?
Glenn Close, I think, was in it, wasn't
I
it?
don't know.
I don't know. Shit, we're bad.
Yeah.
Anyhow, oops.
Anyhow, we'd edit this part if
We'd-
we edited.
Okay.
But,
Okay. So the point is that I had these two A-list.
Oh, jeez.
Is that me?
Sorry, no.
That's you? Okay. So
Telephones on set.
phones on set. Turn them off.
We'd edit that part out too if we edited.
Okay. Anyhow, so we had the ability to share a post-production feed, a colorist feed, with these two A-lists colorist people, and they were giving remote approvals in real time from two different parts of the world. And after the colorist had finished the work, he said, "John, if we had to do that old school, it would have delayed the project 6 weeks. They're not going to be back in LA for another 6 weeks."
Yeah.
I mean, in
Huge.
reality, this solution solves problems. I mean, it solves financial problems as well. You know, it allows you to produce more, quicker, faster, and cheaper.
Yep. Absolutely. And they're going to be on this particular Studio Life, we're going to talk about a number of solutions. The remote collaboration that Blackmagic just released, the ability for somebody to receive those proxies, including through your technology with Frame.io, get those proxies, cut it, send it back, and have those and have the file itself, the XML file, comes back without the files, just as a tiny little few
Pointers.
kilobyte email.
An EDL.
And next thing you know, the footage is cut, the 4K is rendering, and you're good to go. There are so many little things happening right now that are really making our lives. It's not just about a colorist and an editor. It's also about the ability for someone to actually do the cut all the way around the world. You know, we did a show related to poker. The tournament was going on in Vegas. The commentators were here. The production company was in Korea. Everybody's looking at the same footage. It's flying all around. We're doing the cut live. It's going to air, and we're living the life. You know, the tournament proceeds as it's supposed to. Everybody's happy, and that doesn't happen without the ability to move that information around very, very quickly.
Would you say that that's become standard now? That's the way things are done?
I would say we always, I'm going to say it this way, we always offer it as a standard option.
Right.
The way it's being adopted by clients continues to vary.
Right.
Some are embrace this more. Others want more people to be on set. It's considered a perk. Being on set is considered a perk.
So, that sounds like a pretty sophisticated production.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You turn up on the morning and something doesn't work.
Yeah.
What do you do?
We find a way.
Okay. What are the tools that you used to solve the problems, though? I mean, what do you do different today in the respect of making sure that what you're going to do is reliable, right? We're sitting here in studio life, and what's changing? Cameras are getting cheaper, lighting is cheaper. You got to do more for less. Is that what we've got to concentrate on, or is quality still? Do you still see a place where you will be able to provide super high quality feeds to Korea, for example, or it'll all go up into the cloud and you'll edit in the cloud? And have you done any of that recently?
We run a very varied business.
Right.
So for us, every client that comes in is completely unique. It's very rare for us to see the same type of production twice in a month. So our ability to solve problems for us is constantly evolving. And so it is a lot of fun in that sense. To try to directly answer your question, a lot of what we do depends. And our ability to solve problems is so unique to the problem that we have. And I don't know that there's ever been a piece of gear, all respect, that hasn't failed us at some point, that hasn't caused us to, in the moment, find a way to adapt.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Yeah. No, so I think problem solving for us is the key.
Right.
And some of the tools that have come out lately have been life-changing in the sense that they are requiring less problem solving. They're more reliable.
Right.
Zoom doesn't go down for the most part. It's
Right.
always been there when we needed it. And our biggest complaint on Zoom is that someone is sitting in a waiting room on a secure call for too long. Most of the time it works. When problems arise in the Zoom world, it's because the remote person's internet is bad.
Right.
And so I think the greatest thing that we have is not that the prices are going down. The prices of cameras are staying the same, but the features that are built into those cameras
Right.
is growing and growing and growing. And so we're able to do more reliably, fewer problems to solve. And every generation of gear that comes out, this newest generation of the Cube versus the Cubes that we own, I'm sure is going to be fewer problems to solve. It's going to be way more reliable, faster setup, all this stuff. But that's our greatest ally right now.
Right. I think we've probably followed the same trend of cameras. Not that the price is going down, but packing in a lot more features.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the new Cube is a 4K 12G SDI, HD SDI recorder, transmitter, bonded cellular live streaming device. I mean, it's an Army Swiss knife of an encoder, and it does everything except an espresso, which I actually put in as a requirement for the next generation.
Yeah, and that's honestly, I mean, I don't want to hawk your products, but that's what we love about the Cube is we could do our on-set monitoring, off-set monitoring, cellular bonding, hardware encoding, and so for us, it is the Swiss Army knife of the studio. And while we use other products now, including the Link, which is sort of our version of the Bond because we don't know what platform we're going to use on the other end, we're not always RTMPing our way out of here.
Sure. Let me just tell people what the Link is. The Link is Wi-Fi router, like any Wi-Fi router, but instead of you plugging it into the internet over Ethernet, we use 4 cellular connections to aggregate the bandwidth.
Right.
So it means that you can be in the middle of a field and have a broadband connection to the internet.
Yeah.
And the way that you use it is because you could be here today, in the middle of a field tomorrow, or on the beach, and still want to get, a higher bit rate than just Wi-Fi to a MiFi.
That's right.
Right.
But from a cube and cellular bonding standpoint, the cube has been amazing. Is a remarkable device at that. So it really is the Swiss Army knife of monitoring.
I will make your coffee for a day if you can tell me how many cubes we have sold in the last 10 years.
All I get is coffee?
Then push your luck.
I don't know. And short of hazarding a terrible guess, I could say that we would recommend them to any production because of of all the types of monitoring that we do.
So you're going to make me coffee then. We have 180,000 cubes in the wild, and one of the funnest things that ever happens to me is that I'll be at a trade show and some guy will walk up to me and say, "Man, I have your cube on the top of the Empire State Building and it's been there for 7 years. We can't get into the control room up there, but it's been sending us a traffic cam from there for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
We've never touched it." And,
Super cool.
It is cool because, whether, we have them on spacecraft or we have them on productions or, we have them as doorstops some places, or we have them as you have them stuck inside studios. I have a number of studios that deploy two cubes in every studio so that they can offer offset monitoring as part of the solution. Mm-hmm. I would say, you're very advanced in your thinking because they're just now starting to think about it, and you've been doing it for years.
That's right.
You are a renegade in this industry.
That's what we try to tell people.
Yes.
Renegade. Yeah, no, it's and I will tell you, a lot of the features that we are not things that we were aware of when we bought, or that we knew that we needed. And so the ability for us, and this does not just apply to this, it applies to almost all the gear we have.
Right.
Is we keep reading the instruction manuals over and over and over again because there are so many features built into everything that you never touch. But eventually you might need that feature, and to realize that you've had it all along is a pretty remarkable thing. It lets us solve a lot more problems for no additional expenditure, and it's a pretty cool dynamic.
What's the next problem you'd like us to solve?
I'll tell you, it always comes down to, for us, more and more reliability. When we're dealing with point-to-point, line of sight stuff.
I have to get you an ART encoder.
You're going to need to get us an ART encoder.
Yeah.
That is our glitch. When we set up gear,
yeah,
and we're worried that something's going to get in the way of that line of sight, and it's going to cause a problem, that continues to be the reason why we trust wires.
So I'll tell you a little story about ART. ART stands for Amimon Reliable Transport. Amimon is the company that developed the Bolt chipset, and Teradek owns Amimon. And about 6 months ago, they presented the final solution, and ART is actually a protocol, right? So they put up on the whiteboard ART, Amimon Reliable Transport, and they did a little block diagram from here to New York in 100 milliseconds over really terrible internet, because again, Amimon Reliable Transport. And I'm like, guys, you've missed the point here. It's really, really fast. So you need to call it Fast Amimon Reliable Transport.
Great. Yeah.
True story.
Quality acronyms here on the Studio
True
Life.
story. Now, ART can send up to a server, kind of like a Helios server in the cloud, that allows us to do everything DHCP. For those that don't know what DHCP is, read up on it. For those that do know what DHCP is, it means life is really easy. You can drop a box in someone's home and plug it into their internet. It's going to call up to the server in the cloud, and everything can be DHCP. It just means, CNN or you can ship something to someone's home and not have to worry about IP. It would be impossible to send something to someone's home and get a fixed IP address in order to do a point-to-point, right? So the server in the cloud was called the Amazon Streaming Server. That was the acronym.
Took a while to get there now, didn't you?
It did.
And we continue the theme of amazing acronyms here on the Studio Life.
True story. I mean, that was the true story. And, there's more, but I won't, we wanted to, we've actually added it as a feature to this product. Let me show you close. There it is, right? This is the new Cube Prism, blah, blah, blah. Really, really cool product. Love it. Anyhow, so it has an SD slot in here. So we can, anything that we record, anything that we stream rather, we can record onto the SD card. And we can at that same time push it up to core or to frame or so that someone can then edit the proxies. We record camera name, time code, right? Kind of the workflow that you were doing. But a few years ago, we wanted to make a product that just did that. And we were going to call it the File Upload Card Reader. That was the product. You're going to have to edit that bit out. But it's true. It's true.
Yeah, we're unwinding here. Yeah, no, it's it. Like I said, we're certainly fans. So, with that said, I think we've used up our allocated time.
Well, thank you.
There's plenty more I think I would like to discuss with you. I hope you come back.
With pleasure, and here's something that would be fun to do. Okay, you have a screen here. Okay, let's turn it 90 degrees. And I'll bring you an art box, and you will be virtually interviewing me from my office in Irvine.
Let's do it.
And you'll basically put a screen here, and we would be doing a back and forth how we are doing now.
Next time.
It would be fun to try.
That's right. And so I have my topics already built, so you can prepare. Yeah, we're going to focus a little bit on backup servers and the ability to stay live. So
sure,
that is the topic. We should prepare for this topic, because it's going to be a good discussion.
Because the motto of the internet is it will always fail you.
Always fail. So we're going to solve the world's problems.
Yes.
In the next time. But John, you're the man. Thank you for coming and hanging.
Thank you. My pleasure. It was fun being here. Beautiful studio.
So with that in mind.
And cut.
Thank you guys for joining here on the Studio Life. It's been a pleasure. John Landman, VP Sales, Teradek. Obviously, he's a great guy and a pleasure to host. In the meantime, keep on watching.
3,